Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Play Space Live. I'm here tonight. I'm your host, Sam Avalon, coming to you from the Play headquarters. Keith Avalon, we've swapped the roles a little bit. Keith's running the controls tonight. He's sitting right over there, so be sure to give him a hard time in the chat because he's obligated to respond to everything you ask him there. Tonight we've got something really fun and special in store for you guys. It's going to be a first look at our brand new Play Now game, Twisted Fate, Cowboys versus Aliens. So I think a lot of you you're probably tuning in because you know a little bit about Twisted Fate already, but if you're coming in totally blind, let me give you the quick rundown of what the game is all about. It's we're calling it a deck and dice adventure game where you need to put together a posse of Wild West heroes to go face down an alien threat that's threatening to invade your town and possibly the world. So I think with that explanation, why don't we jump over to the game? And how this is gonna work is I'm gonna play through a little bit of the game. We might get a whole game in depending on how it goes. We might get a couple games in if it's going quick. The game is designed. There's a couple things that the game is designed to be that make it kind of unpredictable to stream. First is that it plays quick. So it could take as little as 5 minutes if we get beat really quickly, or it could take 20-30 minutes if we're really on a roll here. But I'm not going to let it go 30 minutes. At some point, the point of this tonight is just to show off how the game works. So with that said, why don't I show you guys how the game works? You can see everything included with the game in front of us here. And I guess I'm just going to go by component by component, and we'll talk about what each of these things is. So we've got our two decks here. This is going to be our deck of Cowboys, and then we have our deck of Aliens here as well. Then we've got some various pawns and tokens and markers, and you'll see a good hefty pile of dice here. The game uses a lot of dice, and these are all included with the physical game when we launch that later this year. But obviously, if you're downloading the PDF game, you won't get dice with that, so you will need a decent stash to play. And then we also have our board here. This is where the main action of the game is going to take place. And we've got some special chips here as well that we'll talk about more in just a moment. So basically how this game works is like this. We've got two different decks, two sort of decks that are in opposition here. We've got our deck of Cowboys and our deck of Aliens. And the way that we start each game here is we shuffle them together so that we get a totally random experience. Now, I've already shuffled them once myself beforehand, so we're not going to go too thorough here. We'll just give them each a good once over. All right, so with those shuffled now, the aliens are going to go right here on the board. And this would be a good time to talk a little bit about the board here. So we've got a few things here. We've got the spot where the alien card's going to be. We're going to flip that over in just a second. Then we've got this track right here, which is the alien's health meter. We're going to place a pawn here that tells us where the alien's health starts, depending on what threat level he is. We'll get to that in a second. And we've also got our town map that tells us how close the alien is to town. And each of these things sort of correlates to a different win condition that the alien has. There's 3 ways that you can beat the alien, and there's 3 ways that the alien can beat you. First way to beat the alien is to take his health all the way off this damage chart. So if he makes it all the way to the bottom here, if you deal enough damage to him to get him off the chart, then you defeat the alien. Also, if you can push the alien away from town so far that he's no longer a threat to you, off of this cliff space here, then you will also defeat the alien that way. The third way for you to defeat the alien is to apply these conditions, which your Cowboys will have different attacks that can apply special conditions. They each have certain things that they can do as well, but that's sort of a more advanced way to go about beating the alien. So we'll see if we get to that tonight. I'm sure we'll apply some conditions, but more on that later. That's how you beat the aliens. This is how the aliens beat you. Just like you can deplete the aliens' health, they can also increase their health. So sometimes their aliens' attacks will increase their health, and if they go all the way up the top of the board here, then they will win that way. They're considered to have gone off the charts with energy and are no longer able to be beaten. Also, if they progress all the way in town on the town map chart, then they'll win that way as well. You don't want the alien getting into town. And the last way that they can win is if they kill all of your Cowboys. Obviously, no Cowboys can't beat an alien, so that's the third and final way to lose. So with that out of the way, it's time to start setting up the game. So the first thing we do each time we set up a game is we flip over the alien and get ready for that fight. So, okay, we flip over the alien, and we see that we're fighting the Mantis Striker. I'll show you this card real quick. We'll get that right up close to the camera so you can see for just a second. Cool looking little bug guy. We'll put him back down there where he belongs. So we can see a couple things from this card. The first is that it is a 4-star threat level. And I'll put it back one more time so you can see that. See the stars right there tell us that this is a 4-star alien threat. So that means on the health chart, we're going to put his health meter at 4 stars right there, right at that space. Now we're going to roll a die to decide where he starts in the town map chart. That's random each time, obviously, since we're rolling a die. So he starts at 3. I'm not sure if you can see on the board here, but there's different dice on each of these spaces, and we're going to put them on the space with the 3 die on it. All right, so the alien is all set up now. And now it's time to set up to the Cowboys. So at the start of the game, I'll go ahead and shuffle this one more time. We're going to deal ourselves out 7 cards from the top of the deck. And since I threw those on myself, I'll go ahead and cut it like that. So we're going to deal 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is our opening hand of Cowboys. I call it a hand. It's not really a hand. You don't keep it a secret or anything because you're playing it solo, so there's no one to keep it secret from. And you're going to see a couple things that we get in our hand here. There's going to be really 2 types of cards that we're looking for. The first are Cowboys rather, such as Hurricane Jane here. You can see her. And then the second is these supplies cards, or resource cards rather. And these come in 2 different variants. There are the gear cards, which you can see indicated by the little blue gear word there. And then there's also supplies cards, which you can see indicated by the red supplies thing there. So these are going to be resources available for your Cowboys as they take on the alien threat, and they work in a couple different ways. The supplies are a one-time use it and lose it kind of deal. So you're going to play it at any point in the game, you're going to do whatever it says on the card, and then you're going to discard it, and it's done. The gear cards, however, are attached directly to your Cowboys. So once they're attached to a Cowboy, they stay with them for the rest of the game, either until the Cowboy is knocked out or you attach a different gear card to it, at both of which points the gear card is discarded. So that is the different kind of cards that we're going to have in our hand here. You can see we've got 3 Cowboys and 4 resource cards. We're going to sort of set them up like this. Now we get to choose how we want to set up our Cowboys, and what that means mostly at this point is how we want to attach our gear. So we're going to set our supplies cards aside. And we've got a couple different options here. We've got a gear card called Tranquilizer. And this is probably a good time to explain what exactly the gear cards do. They're going to add different either effects or attacks for your Cowboys to be able to do to attack the alien with. So we can see here that this Tranquilizer gear adds an attack for the Cowboy that it's attached to be able to do. So we're going to go ahead and throw this on Beautiful Smythe, our Cowboy here. Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second now. You can see there's a couple different things on each Cowboys card. 3 things really to pay attention to. We'll bring Hurricane Jane back up here. First off is the name all the way up top. You can see the Cowboy's name, Hurricane Jane. Then we've got the, sorry, it's kind of hard to point at this card. I have to look at the screen here. Then we've got the qualities. So we can see, I don't know if you guys can see this. It's kind of blurry, it looks like. But Hurricane Jane is strong, is what that tells us right there. And the qualities, in addition to kind of telling us what the Cowboys' personality is like, also affects how they're going to take damage from certain alien attacks. So we'll see how that plays out in just a moment once the alien starts attacking us. And then the third thing we're looking for on each of the Cowboys cards is the attacks. So you can see that Hurricane Jane has 2 separate attacks that she can do, and attacks can have different effects on the alien that they're being targeted at. We can see she's got the string up attack that's going to deal 1 damage and apply this condition. Whenever you see a plus and then this little icon here, it's going to apply one of these condition markers down here. So it's going to be 1 damage and restrained. And then we also have the corral attack, which is going to do 1 damage and force the alien to retreat on the town map card, and that's indicated by the RET symbol on the card there. So this will all start to make more sense once we start playing here. I think at this point we're going to jump into the game, and we're going to start just going through it. So we're set up, and now we're going to start the actual game process. Now the game plays in 3 stages. The first of which is what we call the alien statement stage. So what this means is the alien's going to get to make a free attack on our Cowboys using the alien's dice. So we look at the alien's threat level. We see he's a 4-star threat. And now we're going to take that many dice. So he's going to have 4 dice to attack us with, and he rolls all of them. So let's roll these dice. And we get a 5, 9, 13. Now we're going to look on the alien's card, and you can see there's different attacks listed here. We're going to look for the 13 range, and that attack says that we're going to deal 2 damage, remove 1 condition, and discard 2 cards. Okay, so this is what the alien's doing to our posse of Cowboys. And now we're just going to walk through each of these attacks, or each of these effects of the attack one by one. So first, we're going to deal 2 damage. These are our damage markers over here. You can see some of them are blue and some of them are yellow. The yellow is damage. The blue is shield, or I think we call it momentum, which the Cowboys are going to gain on their own accord. You'll see how that plays out in a moment here once the Cowboys start attacking. But for now, we're going to take 2 of these yellow damage counters, and since it's a statement attack, we get to choose which Cowboy this damage is going to go on to. Now, each Cowboy can have up to 2 damage counters on it, but as soon as they take a third, that Cowboy is gone. They're knocked out, and we don't get them back for the rest of the game. Consider, I'm just kind of looking at my Cowboys here, and it looks like Hurricane Jane, yeah, I think Hurricane Jane, since she's strong, she can take this damage pretty well. So we're going to put the 2 damage counters on her. All right, so we did that part of it. Now we're going to remove 1 condition. That's these chips here. And since there aren't any conditions already on the alien, we're just going to ignore that part of it. Sometimes the alien attacks will call for things that aren't in effect or can't happen just because of the game state. And whenever that happens, you just ignore it. So remove 1 condition, doesn't happen. Then the last thing we're going to do is discard 2 cards. Now this is pretty brutal because we only have 3. It's talking about our, whenever you see cards on the alien attacks, it's talking about the resource cards available to us. So we have to choose 2 of these resource cards here to discard now. I think I'm going to get rid of the Liquid Courage. No, that's kind of a good one. I'm going to get rid of these 2. My 2 supplies cards. So those get discarded. And now that we've done everything on the alien's attack card, it's our turn. So we're now moving to the second stage of gameplay, which is the Cowboy attack stage. We're going to get dice that correlate to the number of Cowboys we have up here. So the more Cowboys you have, the more dice you're going to get. And these dice are what we use to attack the alien with. Now we're going to make multiple attacks. And on each of the attacks, we get to decide how many of these dice we want to roll. But here's the catch. You can roll however many dice you want. And in order for the attack to succeed, you need a 1 or a 2 on any of the dice. So as long as any of the results on any of the dice that you roll are a 1 or a 2, the attack will succeed. Obviously, the more dice you roll, the higher chance you have of success, and the less dice you roll, the lower chance you have of success. But the catch is that once you're out of dice, you have to replenish, and the game's going to loop back to the alien statement stage, so he's going to get another attack off on you. So it's sort of a balance of how many attacks do I need to get off before the alien makes his next attack, and how many do I reasonably think I can hit with the dice that I've got at my disposal. So since we've got 3 Cowboys here, we're going to get 5 dice. The formula goes, you get 2 dice plus 1 for each of your active Cowboys. So you're going to have at least 3 dice to start with each time because you got to have at least 1 Cowboy. And since we have 3 Cowboys, we got 5 dice to start with. So now it's time to start making some attacks. And we've got a couple options here. So we can attack with any of our Cowboys. We can attack with them in any order. The only rules are that they cannot attack consecutively. So for instance, if I wanted to roll 2 dice with Smokin' Jones and do one of his attacks, then I couldn't come back and do a second attack with Smokin' Jones right afterwards. I could go 2 on Smokin' Jones, 1 on Beautiful Smythe, and then 2 on Smokin' Jones again after that, but they can't attack back to back. So that's really the only role we're concerned with right now. I think how we're going to play it is like this. We're going to go with Hurricane Jane, and since he's pretty close to town already, we're going to try to restrain him, apply one of these conditions. Like I said, each of these has sort of a special effect associated with it, printed on the token there. So you can see with the restrain condition, the alien can't advance into town anymore. So we don't want him to advance, so that's what we're going to try to apply here. So we're going to go, we choose 3 things here. First of all, which Cowboy we're going to attack with. Second of all, which attack we're going to do. Hurricane Jane with the string up attack. Then we decide how many dice we're going to roll. I want to roll 3 dice. You can roll up to 3. 3 is the max. And, of course, 1 is the minimum. You have to roll at least 1 dice in order to do the attack. So we're going to roll these dice that I've selected here. Oh, no. When we don't get a 1 or a 2, that's pretty rare that happens. We've got about an 80% success rate when we roll 3 dice. So that is really unlucky. So what happens here, this is good, though. This is a learning experience. What happens here when we fail an attack, since we don't have a 1 or a 2 on any of these, we're going to add up the total of the dice, which in this case is 12. And we're going to look on the alien's card again. And now he's going to get to make a counterattack. And sort of another level of strategy that comes into this is in deciding how many dice you want to roll is the less dice you have, the less likely you are to succeed, but also the lower number you're going to get if you fail, which usually correlates to less punishing attacks from the alien. So since we missed with a big roll like this, it's probably going to hurt pretty bad. So we look for 12 on the alien card, and here's what we're going to do. It says deal 1 damage, discard 1 die. Okay, so this is bad. Hurricane Jane, since she's the one making the attack, remember how when he made his statement, we get to choose which cowboy got the damage? Now, since it's in the cowboy's attack stage and he's counterattacking, it has to go on the cowboy that made the attack that triggered this alien attack. So Hurricane Jane has to take that damage. That puts her at 3, and unfortunately she is gone now. So she's knocked out. She goes to the discard pile. She served us well, but in the end, just couldn't take the Mantis Striker. So, all right, but now, let's see, it says deal 1 damage and discard 1 die. Oh, no. So we have to discard one of these 2 dice that we have left as well. We rolled 3, we had 5 to start with, so now I got to discard 1 more. We only have 1 left. But we still want to use it, and I think what we want to do is go over to Beautiful Smythe and have him use the attack from his tranquilizer gear that he's got, and we're going to do the injection. So we're going to roll this die and hope for a 1 or a 2 here. 6, that's bad. That's about as bad as that could go. So actually, that's not too bad because it says remove all conditions and fear. Now, remove all conditions, obviously, he doesn't have any conditions on him yet, so we can't do that. But fear is one of the special alien attacks that I was telling you about earlier. It's going to start coming into play with these cowboy traits. So we're going to look at the traits on both of our cowboys, and we can see that Beautiful Smythe is smart, courage, and strong. That's all 3 positive attributes. And since he has courage on here, he's actually not going to take any damage from fear. There are some negative qualities the Cowboys can have as well. Like you can see Smokin' Jones is dense. So if the surprise attack was to come into a play, then Smokin' Jones would take 2 damage from that. So whenever you get these special attacks on the alien cards, you're going to look at the Cowboys' traits. They're going to apply to all of your Cowboys. And if they have the positive trait, they're going to take no damage. If they have the negative trait associated with that attack, then they're going to take 2 damage. And if they have neither trait, then they take 1 damage. Lucky for us, Beautiful Smythe and Smokin' Jones both have the positive trait, the courage trait. So since they're courageous, they don't take any damage from the alien's fear attack. So we're good there. That wasn't so bad. Now, as you can see, we're out of dice, so we're going to move to the 3rd stage of gameplay. And once we're done with this, it's going to loop right back around to the alien stage. So you can see it moves in cycles here. So we're in the replenishment stage now, what we call the replenishment stage. And there's a couple things that we do here, and it goes in a certain order. So the first thing that we're going to do every time we replenish is draw a card from the top of the cowboy deck. And this is going to come straight into our posse here. Okay, great. So we have Rachel Lovelace. She joins our fight, and that's great for us. She's really strong. She's smart and courageous. So she's got a lot of good stuff going for her, and her attack's pretty good too. Here, I'll show you Rachel Lovelace real quick so you can see what we got here. Very cool. All right. So we draw a card. The next thing we do is we rearrange our Cowboys if we want to rearrange them at all. At this point, we can choose to rest some of our Cowboys. We don't really want to do that right now, but I'll explain how it works anyways. In every replenishment phase, you can choose to put some of your Cowboys in the back line if you'd like. So you put them behind here, and that does a couple different things for you. First of all, if they have any damage on them, you're going to get to remove 1 damage from the Cowboy while they're resting. Second of all, they're going to be totally immune to all alien attacks until the next replenishment phase if you choose to put them back in. So as long as they're on the back line, then they're going to be undamaged by alien attacks. Did you have something?
Steve Tower has indicated that the gear card that should have been on Beautiful Smythe was somehow switched to Smokin' Jones.
Oh, you're right, Steve. You're totally right. When I picked them up, they must have traded their Thank you, Steve, for pointing that out. Beautiful Smythe has the gear, and everything is right in the world again. All right, so resting Cowboys. So if I wanted to rest Rachel Lovelace, she would get her damage taken off. She would be invulnerable to alien attacks until we put her back on the front line. But she's now not going to contribute to our dice pool total. So instead of getting 5 dice here, we would only get 4. Because remember, the formula is 2 plus 1 for each of your active Cowboys. She's not active, so it would be 2 plus 1, 2. We'd get 4 dice. And she's also not going to be able to make any attacks on the alien until she's back in the active spot. So since she doesn't have any damage on her, it doesn't really make sense for us to rest her at this point. We're going to leave her up. We're going to get all 5 of our dice. And now that is the end of the replenishment stage, so we move back to the alien statement. So now it all repeats again. So the alien gets to make his attack. We're going to roll all 4 of his dice again, the blue alien dice here. And we'll add them up. That's going to be 13, same as last time. So it's deal 2 damage, remove 1 condition, discard 2 cards. I only have 1 card at this point. And really, I should have attached this card probably to somebody. But I didn't. I did not play that very well. So that's going to get discarded. And we're going to deal 1 damage, deal 2 damage rather. And I think we're going to put that on Smythe this time since he's got all the good attributes going for him. All right, so that's his attack. Set those dice aside. We got R5, and we're ready to roll again. So I think my strategy moving forward now is to make sure that he can't damage me. And so in order to do that, he's got a lot of these attacks that are going to deal direct damage to my Cowboys. So to make sure he can't damage me anymore, I'm going to apply this dazed condition, or try to apply this dazed condition, which reads that he can't damage anymore. So Beautiful Smythe with his injection attack is going to apply daze. Yeah, we got to get this. Come on, Smythe. Let's get it. Yeah, all right, there we go. So this is good. So remember I said whenever a 1 or a 2 comes up, the attack succeeds. So this is a big success. We only needed 1 of these ones, but the ones actually give us an added bonus. So whenever you roll a 1 with any Cowboy attack, you're going to get to either remove a damage from the card, or if they don't have any damage, that's how they get these blue chips here. And this is sort of a mechanic that anybody who's played the golf game might be familiar with, to where the blue chips will negate any yellow chips that come onto the alien, or onto the Cowboy rather. So if Smokin' Jones has a blue chip on him, and he takes the damage from the alien, instead of putting one of these yellow chips on, we're instead going to take the blue chip off. So that's one of the ways that the Cowboys can sort of resist more damage than they would initially be able to take. So since we got 2 1s here, we're going to get to remove 2 damage from Beautiful Smythe, which is awesome. And his attack succeeds as well. So we're going to deal 1 damage to the alien. We're going to move this down 1. And we're going to apply this dazed condition. So this goes onto his card. And this means that he cannot damage. It's the first thing that it means, is that he can't damage. And then it also is going to affect some of our other stuff in other less obvious ways. For instance, Smokin' Jones has this attack on his card, the burn attack, if you can see that there, that says 4 damage if they're dazed. So if they've got the dazed condition on them, then he can do an attack that's going to deal 4 damage, huge amount of damage, awesome attack if they're dazed. And since they are, that's how I'm going to spend my last 2 dice, is with Smokin' Jones. Now, this might be a good point to talk about the last sort of caveat that we've got with the Cowboy attacks, and that is that they have an option to do what we call going all in. So on a Cowboy attack, before you roll the dice for it, you can choose to go all in on the attack. And that means a couple things. The first thing that means is that you're going to immediately take a damage and put it on the Cowboys. So Smokin' Jones is going to take a damage for this. But the benefit is that now 1s, 2s, and 3s will be a success for this attack. So if either of these dice come up with a 1 or 2 or a 3, then we're going to succeed on the attack. The other negative is that you can't gain a blue chip or heal damage with 1s when you're going all in. So it's, again, same as the golf game. You can't spend a chip to earn a chip. Same sort of idea there. So we're going to roll for Smokin' Jones. 1, 2, or 3. All right, we got the 2, so we didn't need to go all in, but better safe than sorry, because we're going to get to do 4 damage here. Move him down 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now we're starting to dig into him a little bit. His health is getting low. We're feeling pretty good, but it's time for him to make his attack. Or we got to replenish now because we're out of dice, so he will get to attack soon. But first, we're going to draw a card from the top of the Cowboy deck. All right, we got our 4th Cowboy. Ernest Dillweed joins the fight. Now, Ernest is a little bit of a coward, so I got to be honest. I'm a little bit concerned about how he's going to perform here, but, you know, we'll give him a shot.
Gives you an extra dice.
Gives us an extra dice, exactly, so he's good for that at least. And now, exactly, since we've got 4 Cowboys here, we're going to get 2 plus 4, total of 6 dice to play with this time. But before we get to roll them, Alien's got to make his attack. So we're going to roll for the Alien. Ooh, big roll. That is 16. So we look at the 16 on the card. That's not so bad, actually. It's heal 3 damage, which, you know, it kind of stinks, but we can deal with that. 1, 2, 3. And surprise. Okay, so this is where we look for... Oh, no. Smokin' Jones, I shouldn't have had you go all in. This is where we look for the... condition. There's 2 traits on the alien card or on the Cowboy cards we're going to look for with this. If they are smart, then they're not going to take any damage from this attack. If they're dense, then they're going to take 2 damage from this attack. And if they're neither smart nor dense, then they're going to take 1. So Beautiful Smythe is smart, so he's in the clear. Smokin' Jones is dense, and since he already has 1 on him, he is out of there. See you later, Jones. Maybe you shouldn't have been so dense. Next is Rachel Lovelace. She's smart. That's great. And finally, Ernest Dillweed is neither, so he will take 1 damage from that attack. All right, and we're ready to roll again. We got 6 dice, because even though Smokin' Jones isn't with us anymore, he did lend his help in gathering the dice pool. So we've got 6 dice to play with here, and I think what we want to do is this. Let's go with the Gunslinger on Rachel Lovelace. I think we want to do 2. We're going to stick with 2. I'm going to try to get 3 attacks off here. So 2, 2, and 2. Rachel, here we go, Gunslinger. All right, we got the 2. That's great. We're going to deal 1 damage. And we're going to apply the wounded condition, which means that he cannot heal himself anymore. Now, granted, he can still remove these conditions. Some of the alien attacks will call to remove conditions. And remember that happened before and he didn't have any conditions on him. But if that happened at this point, then he would have those removed from him and continue to heal himself again or deal damage to us. He's then freed from those restraints. So we've got 2 dice down, 4 to go. Let's have Beautiful Smythe do the injection again. Ernest Dillweed doesn't really have any great attacks unless you have someone who can restrain them. And we don't have that right now, so unless we get... It would have been great to have Hurricane Jane. They would have made a great combo there. But alas, she is gone. So we're going to just go with Beautiful Smythe, injection. All right, we get the 1 and the 2, so we get the chip on Beautiful Smythe. And he's feeling real good now. And we also get to deal 1 damage and apply another effect of the Daze condition. Okay, so at this point, each of these markers indicates 1 application of the condition. You can apply conditions multiple times, and that's how we get to the 3rd way to defeat the alien that I sort of alluded to earlier. So we're going to put a dice on this token now to indicate that it's got 2 applications of the Daze condition. And what this means is now if the alien removes 1 condition of it, he'll still have 1 application of it rather. He'll still have 1 left, so we won't be able to damage anymore. And if we can get this up to a number that surpasses the alien's threat level, so for this guy in particular, it would need to be 5. If we can stack 5 Daze conditions on him, 5 of the same condition, then we can go for what we call the kill shot. And the kill shot is a default attack available to all of the Cowboys. Any Cowboy can do it. There's a couple other default attacks outlined in the rules book that we won't do this time. It's sort of an advanced option. But bottom line is all the Cowboys can do this kill shot move. And if you've got more conditions of more applications of a single condition, sorry, it gets a little bit wordy, than the alien's threat level, then you can you do it just as a regular attack. You roll the dice. If you get a 1 or a 2, then the alien is automatically defeated. So it's tough. We'd have to get we've only got 2 applications right now. We'd have to get it up to 5 in order to do that. But if we do, then that's an instant win. So something to think about. All right, we've used 4 dice. We got 2 left. We're going to kick it back over to Rachel Lovelace with her gunslinger attack. Give him the pew-pew. Oh, man. All right, so we roll a 9. It misses, and he... All right, so this is what I was talking about, where he gets to remove conditions. 5 through 9 says remove all conditions. So all of these come off. All this hard work that we put into that. They all are gone now, and it's going to remove all conditions, and it's going to fear as well. So we look for courage. Oh, no, and Ernest Dillweed's a coward. This is terrible. This is really going south fast. So Beautiful Smythe and Rachel Lovelace both have courage. They're unaffected. Ernest Dillweed is a coward, like I was saying. I knew I was concerned about him. I knew he wasn't going to make it. Since he already has 1 damage, puts 2 more on him. He's out. Goes to the discard pile. So you can see there's kind of a back and forth between the Aliens and the Cowboys. For a while there, it really looked like we were going to beat him pretty easily when we were dealing 4 damage with Smokin' Jones. But now he's kind of got us on the ropes again. But we're going to replenish, and we might get new cards. And it's a back and forth, and it kind of gives you some narrative as we're playing through. You can sort of picture in your head, oh no, Ernest Dillweed, the coward, is afraid of this alien, and he got him in a corner and scared him off, and now he's gone now. So that's kind of where the nuance of the game comes in. The game is fun to play by itself, but what really makes it great is the story that it kind of paints in your head as you're playing. So we're going to replenish now. First thing is draw the top card of the deck, reveal it, Smelling Salt. So this is a supplies card. We can play it at any time to remove 1 damage from each of our Cowboys. Our Cowboys, these two at least, aren't really taking any damage, so we're pretty good there. So we're just going to hold on to that for now. And we're going to go back to the Mantis Strikers. They get another attack. We're going to roll. And let's see what we got here. That is 6, 10, 12. So deal 1 damage. We're going to deal it to Beautiful Smythe since he's got the chip. Take that off. Discard 1 die. All right, so we would start with 4 dice here. But we only get 3 now since he discarded 1. All right, I think what we're going to do is this. We're just going to do all 3 with Rachel Lovelace because we kind of want to replenish at this point to start drawing more cards and get more Cowboys out. So we're going to roll all 3 of them with Rachel Lovelace, try to shoot him again or try to wound him. Oh, wow, look at that. 14. So that is deal 2 damage. Let's go right on to Rachel. Remove 1 condition, doesn't have any conditions, and discard 2 dice. We don't have any dice left. So that's another scenario where you don't have any dice, so you just ignore that part of the attack. I think we're going to go ahead and play this Smelling Salt card here. Take 1 of those off Rachel, just in case. And then we're going to go ahead and replenish since we're out of dice, obviously. So we draw a card. Okay, we've got the knife. The knife is good. It's a gear card. You attach it to one of your Cowboys, and it gives them access to an attack that just deals a flat 3 damage. So we're going to go ahead and attach that to Rachel so we can start chipping away at his health a little bit more here. And I think that's all we're really going to do for our replenishment phase. We're going to send it back to the alien, roll all 4 of the dice, see what happens. Big roll, 16, that's 18. Oh, no! All right, so this is kind of a rare result. It's only on a few of the aliens cards, but you can see the bottom of his card, it says, flee! So the 18 result is he runs away, and we lose all of our progress that we just had on this alien. Oh my gosh. So that one's definitely a little bit frustrating. Sometimes it happens when he's really got you on the ropes, and it's like, oh gosh, I'm glad he ran away. But this time, we had his health down pretty far, and I kind of felt good about it. So that one definitely stings a little bit. So at that point, what we would do is we would flip him back over. We'll do one more alien here before we wrap up the show. The objective of the game is to beat 3 aliens. You got to be able to beat 3 of these aliens in a row in order to win. And obviously, when they run away, it doesn't count as a victory. So we would still be on our first alien. 0 progress made on that Mantis Striker. And now we're going to flip over the top card of the deck and see what our next one is. Okay, so this is the 6-legged monolith. I'll give you a close-up of the card again so you can kind of see. Again, it's a 4-star threat, same as the last one. I promise there's other threat levels in the deck. It just happens that our first 2 were 4-star. So we will, again, move this guy's health up to the 4-star space here. And we're going to roll a new die to decide where he starts in proximity to the town. And again, that comes up when the alien has attacks that advance him into town, or when you've got attacks that push him back farther into town. That's more prevalent on some aliens than it is than others. Like, for instance, this guy does it a lot more than the Mantis Strikers do. So we'll probably get to see some action on this chart here. But we're going to put his pawn on the 4 space. And now he's set up, and we're ready to go. And we start each new alien, after the first one with a replenishment phase. So we're going to draw a card from the top of the deck. Silver coating. That's good. We'll hold on to that. This is a supplies card that we get to play at any point that we want, and adds 3 damage to our next attack that we deal. So it gives you a little extra firepower, a little extra bang for your buck. And we send it over to the alien now. We could rest Rachel and take that damage off. You know what? I think we're going to do that, actually. We're going to rest Rachel. So that's going to come off. We're only going to get 3 dice to start with. But she's looking healthy now. So we're going to roll these dice for the 6-legged monolith. He gets 4 again. 4-star threat. Wow, that's big. Okay. So he is... Okay, so on his 18 attack, it's remove all conditions and advance times 2. So that is... He's going to move up 2 spaces on this track here. And that's looking not so great for us. If he gets 1 closer into town, then he's going to win. And we will have lost the game. So already not off to a great start. But that's all right. We're going to do our best here. So we got 3 dice. Beautiful Smythe. We're just going to do 1 attack. All 3 dice. We're going to go for the injection. Awesome. So he gets a blue chip. Attack succeeds. We're going to deal 1 damage. And give him the dazed condition, so he can't damage us anymore. Now we replenish. We're going to move Rachel back up. Take a card. First aid kit. That's good. That'll help us heal damage in the future if we need to. We're going to get 4 dice back. And now the alien makes his attack. Here we go. 16. So that is Smash, Surprise, Fear. That's actually all 3 of the special alien attacks. But that's actually really good for us because we got very resistance-heavy Cowboys. So Beautiful Smite actually has all 3 of the positive traits, which means he's not going to take any damage from this. And Rachel Lovelace has 2 of them and no negative ones, so she's only going to take 1 damage from this. So that really isn't too bad. And now we have 4 dice. And we're going to start attacking. I think we're going to do this. We're going to go Beautiful Smythe, Injection, and we're going to go all in with these 2. Oh, shouldn't have done that. But that's all right. He's got a blue chip anyways. So 1 more damage and another stack of the dazed condition. Now we're going to do Rachel Lovelace with 2 dice again. And we're going to play... I'm going to go ahead and play the silver coating. So if this attack hits, we're going to get 3 extra damage with it. That gets discarded. And we're going to go all in again. So she's going to take another damage. But I'm going to play my first aid med card to heal 2 damage off of her. So we're going to take both of these off. And now if we hit, this is going to deal 6 damage with the knife. So the knife does 3 by itself. And we added 3 with the silver coating.
Come on, Rachel.
Come on, Rachel. Let's get it. Oh, my gosh. How could that happen? That's some bad luck, folks. That's really, really bad. Well, let's see what he does. Discard 2 dice. We don't have any dice. Heal 1 damage. So he's going to go back up 1. And surprise. But we are both smart, so doesn't do anything. So that actually wasn't too bad, actually. Time to replenish. We're out of dice. We draw a card. Sleep pills. Ooh. Ooh, okay. All right. So the sleep pills are a really good card. They're kind of like, they give the Cowboy access to an attack that's sort of similar to Smoke and Jones's, where they have to be dazed, but if they are dazed, then it's going to deal 5 damage, which is huge, massive. The most damage you can deal with any card. So we're going to trade out Rachel's knife for this, and whenever you swap out gear cards on a Cowboy, the old one gets discarded. So we say bye-bye to the knife, and we get the sleep pills on Rachel now. And that's it. It's time for the alien to attack. Roll 4 dice. That is big again. Wow, 19. Oh, okay. Well, advance times 2. That puts the alien in town, and we lose the game that way. So, tough game. We designed it with solo play in mind, and what we heard from a lot of solo gamers is that a game needs to be tough and provide a pretty significant challenge. So a lot of the times playing this will you definitely won't win every time. I'll just leave it at that. How about? But fun nonetheless. It tells a story, has a lot of decision making to it, and it's got a lot of. I think it's got a lot of neat character and charm. So that is Twisted Fate: Cowboys versus Aliens. First look. You heard it here first on the Play Space, and I think that is about all I've got for you this week. If you need a little bit more Twisted Fate in your life, then next Tuesday you're going to want to tune into Steve Tower with his After Further Review. He's going to be playing Twisted Fate on there as well. First time ever that he's playing non-sports board games on the channel. Very exciting. Very excited for Steve. It's going to be a great show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Next week we are going to be playing Fury Football on the Play Space. So Keith will be back playing Fury Football solo this time. We'll kind of show you how that works. So that is next week. But until then, I've been your host, Sam Avalone. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.